Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Former Pittsburgh Steelers WR explodes for career best day in breakout performance. Former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Cody White did not get to make many plays while he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He spent some time on special teams as a gunner, but most of his time on the practice squad helping the scout team churn. That was until last summer, when White suffered a hamstring injury that ended his 3-year tenure with the Steelers. However, because of his special teams experience, he found quick work with the Seattle Seahawks. When DK Metcalf got hurt for the Seahawks, they turned to White as the direct replacement and called him up off the practice squad. So, how did his first game in nearly 3 years at the NFL level go? Well, it went about as well as it could have. White made 2 catches for 44 yards, including a toe-tapping 28-yard catch on 3rd and long to keep the game-tying drive going in regulation. That catch came directly after White blocked a Rams punt, too. All of these came together to create 3 massive plays that White helped in, and he continued to eat more into snaps of wide receivers like Jake Bobo as the game went along, and all he did was make plays. For an unheralded, undrafted free agent out of Michigan State, the Steelers saw White's rise. On Sunday, he finally got to see the benefits of his hard work on a career-best day at the NFL level. Steelers open as underdogs against Commanders in Week 10. With the Washington Commanders moving to 7-2 with a win over the New York Giants today, they opened as consensus 2-point favorites over the Pittsburgh Steelers for their Week 10 matchup at Northwest Stadium, per Betting Network VCN. The lines are different depending on the sportsbook, as Caesars and FanDuel have the Commanders at -1.5, while DraftKings has Washington -2.5, leading to the consensus line of -2 in Washington's favor, with the Steelers as underdogs. The Commanders have been one of the biggest surprises in the NFL this season, as rookie QB Jayden Daniels has been playing like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. The Commanders won on a walk-off Hail Mary in Week 8 against the Chicago Bears and kept things rolling with a 27-22 win over the Giants this week. Up to this point, the only common opponent the Steelers and Commanders have is the Giants, who Washington beat 21-18 in Week 2 before their win today. Pittsburgh beat the Giants 26-18 in Week 8 on Monday Night Football. The Steelers will come into the Week 10 matchup fresh as they just had a Week 9 bye, and Mike Tomlin is 25-6 against rookie quarterbacks in his career. That bodes well for the Steelers, but it's not a surprise that they're slight underdogs against a Commanders team that's playing like one of the best in football on the road. Pittsburgh has looked good with Russell Wilson under center, as the offense has been rolling through the air and on the ground, as RB Najee Harris has ran for over 100 yards in 3 straight games. Defensively, the Steelers have been one of the best teams in the league, but they struggled against the run in their win over the Giants, and they'll have to clean up their run defense against the Commanders, with Daniels a rushing threat and Austin Ekeler and Brian Robinson Jr. in the backfield. Robinson was a surprise inactive for Washington today after he tested his hamstring pregame, so his status will be worth watching heading into Week 10. The expectation was that he would play heading into the games today, so he should be good to go for next week, but there's a chance he'll miss the game. The Steelers are also going to have to find a way to stop Terry McLaurin, who has 42 receptions for 598 yards and 6 touchdowns this year. McLaurin only had 2 receptions for 19 yards today, but both catches were touchdowns and he's been Daniels' favorite target this season. It should be a fun matchup between 2 teams with just 2 losses, and it would be a marquee win for the Steelers, especially on the road. Steelers' potential WR trade target exit could reshape deadline strategy. Multiple NFL insiders reported during Week 9 that the Pittsburgh Steelers are still in the market to acquire a wide receiver before the NFL trade deadline. But another potential wideout target could be headed off the market. That's because New York Giants veteran Darius Slayton left Week 9 due to concussion evaluation. The Athletic's Charlotte Carroll reported that Slayton entered the medical tent and then left for the locker room during the second half in Week 9. ESPN's Jordan Raanan then reported that the Giants were evaluating Slayton for a concussion. Slayton is one of a handful of receivers the Steelers could try to target before the NFL trade deadline on November 5. The 27-year-old receiver entered Week 9 with 29 catches, 420 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown this season. He posted a 100-plus yard receiving performance in Weeks 5 and 8. It's difficult to definitively say how Slayton's injury could change the plans of Steelers general manager Omar Khan at the trade deadline. While concussions are serious injuries, they aren't ailments that typically keep players sidelined for several weeks. It's also possible Slayton clears the concussion protocol and returns immediately. But even if Slayton misses Week 10, he could be back in the middle of November for the stretch run of the season. The question, though, is whether the Steelers will be willing to take that risk. On October 31, Slayton was one of several receivers that the Athletic's Mike DeFabua named as a potential trade target for the Steelers. Along with Slayton, DeFabua identified New York Jets' Mike Williams and Carolina Panthers' Adam Thielen as the most likely receiver trade candidates for Pittsburgh. DeFabua also mentioned Jacoby Myers, Treylon Burks, Tyler Boyd, Kendrick Bourne and KJ Osborne as receivers the Steelers could possibly pursue before the trade deadline. Although pundits have connected the Steelers to Darius Slayton off in the past few months, it's possible Khan doesn't view him as the best fit. Fox Sports' Jay Glazer reported on November 3, via Steelers Depot, that the Steelers have pursued Los Angeles Rams wideout Cooper Kupp over the past month. On the very same day, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reported the Steelers had eyes on Jacksonville Jaguars receiver Christian Kirk before he suffered a season-ending fractured collarbone in Week 8. Kupp and Kirk have one thing in common. Heading into Week 9, both receivers had played at least 70% of their 2024 offensive snaps in the slot, according to Pro Football Focus. Before Week 9, Slayton had played roughly 19% of his offensive snaps this season in the slot, according to PFF. So, concussion concerns aside, it's fair to wonder if Slayton is the type of receiver the Steelers are looking to acquire before the deadline. If the Steelers want to add a slot receiver, Thielen may be the best choice of the wideouts reportedly available on the market. According to PFF, Thielen has lined up in the slot on about 73% of his offensive snaps this season. His slot percentage was roughly 69% last season. Thielen entered Week 9 with 8 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown during 2024. It's important to note, though, that Thielen hasn't played since September 22 because of a hamstring injury. So, if the Steelers are concerned about Slayton's concussion, they could be even more wary of acquiring Thielen because of his injury. The Steelers have less than 48 hours to acquire a wide receiver for the 2024 season. The NFL trade deadline is 4 p.m. Eastern Time on November 5. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Darius Slayton? Leave your opinion in the comments.